Good morning and welcome to Hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to six, and the general manager of Dan Cummins Chevrolet Buick in Paris, Kentucky, the second largest used car franchise dealer in the United States of America. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
Yo. Good morning. This is Glenn Lundy and the Rise and Grind. It is 5:30 a.m. on a Thursday. What is today? January 11th. Thursday, January 11th. We are rising and grinding on a Wednesday or a Thursday morning. On time today. On time. We were a little late yesterday, but we are on time today as we rise and grind. Good morning, RC Hazard, Chip Henderson, Laura, Frank, Robbie Toomey, Kenna, Nathan Scott Limble is rising and grinding. Morning, Alan. Morning, Gregory. Another dollar, Adam says. Good morning, Tim Lucas. Mr. Clayton Lesack has made it in this morning. Congratulations. Great job, Clayton. Man, let me tell you guys, that guy Clayton, he's new to my team over at Dan Cummins. He's new to the team, but that guy is something special. He was killing it in our sales training yesterday morning. It was amazing. Good morning, Frank. How are you? Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Greg. RC, I know you're out there grinding, man. That was a great post that you had on your page yesterday. If you guys aren't following RC Hazard, make sure you jump on and follow RC. Now, Tim Lucas is coming in from Columbus. I love it. We got people in from Florida. I love it. We are rising and grinding. Do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and share the feed. Go ahead and click that little share button because we're going to talk about something special today. We are going to talk about the 5 things that have happened to me in the last 7 years that have helped me to become a leader in the industry that I am now, that have helped me in my relationships with my wife, with my friends, with my family. Basically, the 5 things that have changed the course of my life over the last 7 years. So we've got some good stuff in here. So go ahead and hit that share button. What's up, Mr. Darian Sanders? I actually met you before the 7 years. You were an incredible meet and greet. Hey, look, man, I didn't know Darian was going to be in here this morning, but this is Darian's new group that he's with up there at church. He's at Southeast Christian Church up there in Louisville. So hit the share button. Let's get in here for the rise and grind. Good morning from Daytona, says Frank. Good, and we're going to dive right in as we get rolling this morning. So today is a very special day for me, in the sense that 7 years ago today, 7 years ago on this day, January 11th, 2011, was my first day at Dan Cummins Chevrolet Buick in Paris, Kentucky. I freaking love you, Darian Sanders. It was my first day, and you guys got to understand something. When I walked in to Dan Cummins Chevrolet, when I walked in to start on my first day 7 years ago, I started as a salesman. And I drove up to work that day in a 1998 Toyota 4Runner with 240,000 miles on it. Okay? 98 4Runner, 240,000 miles on it. It was my first day on the job, and I was starting off as a salesman. Now, I was incredibly apprehensive at the time. This is my lot. That's right, Robbie. The reason I was a little apprehensive is I had gotten out of the car business completely. I was out of the auto industry. I had been out of the auto industry for an incredibly long period of time. I didn't want to be in the auto industry. I didn't like the auto industry. I didn't like that the managers like to kick people's teeth in. I didn't like that we had to work 80 hours a week for very little reward. I just didn't like things about the auto industry at the time. So I got out for the longest. Well, my life had put me in a place where I had to get a day job, and I had to do what I did best. And what I've always done best has been able to build relationships with people and been able to close deals. It's just one of the things that I've always been able to do. So my now wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, but my now wife and I, we had our first child, Miss Savannah Rain Lundy, and she was looking up at me like, "What are you gonna do, Daddy? How you gonna take care of this, Daddy? What are you gonna do for this family?" And so I went ahead and took the job at Dan Cummins as a salesman 7 years ago today. Now at that time we didn't have much. We didn't have much credit. We didn't have very good finances. We didn't have strong relationships. We didn't have a big network. We didn't have guys like Sean Hayes, who is now in the feed right here. You guys need to be following Sean Hayes. But we didn't have guys like Sean Hayes in our life and some other people around us. And so I was very apprehensive at the time, but I dove right in. I dove right in, and since then, here I am now, 7 years later, general manager of the second largest volume car dealership in the United States of America, a store that's knocking out 850 units a month. We're going to average 944 units a month this month. That's the goal. That's the target. That's what's going to happen. I went from driving 98 4Runners to now I'm driving Hellcats in high countries. I went from renting a place in low-income housing 7 years ago today to owning a beautiful home in an incredible neighborhood with incredible people. And the way that I was able to get there was I had to make sure to focus on 5 different things. 5 things that I'm going to share with you guys this morning. And the very first thing that I had to focus on that started to make the change in my life, that started to get me from being the salesperson 7 years ago, the broke salesperson in the 98 4Runner, to the GM that's running the second largest volume dealership in the country. The very first thing that I had to do was get this morning routine down. This rise and grind that all of you guys are now a part of, this rise and grind that you guys impress me with every single day when I pop on here. You see, it puts you in such an elite group when you can wake up before the sun comes up and you can start to put in the work. A lot of people don't even want to put in the work all day long, let alone put in the work before the sun even comes up. It's crazy. So again, and I know I've mentioned this before on the show on the Rise and Grind, but you should be proud of yourself. Take a moment and pat yourself on the back for being able to be a part of an elite group of people that are willing to get up and do whatever it takes to get the job done. The old 9 to 5 doesn't cut it, folks. The old 9 to 5 ain't going to get you there, folks. You got to rise and grind. So the very first thing that I had to do was I had to get a good morning routine. I had to get a good process in place. And that didn't happen overnight. It took me time. But as I got that good morning routine, the reliability and the accountability on myself and making sure to take time for the mind, the body, and the spirit every single morning, as I started to fall into that morning routine, my life started to change. So that was the first thing. That was the first thing that I did that got me from salesman 7 years ago to GM 7 years later. Now, the second thing that I had to do to make sure to get from where I was to where I am today, the second thing that played a huge part in my success over the last 7 years is I had to choose the right mentors. I had to choose the people that I was going to allow around me, that I was going to allow in my circles, that I was going to allow to infiltrate my brain. I had to choose the right guys. I had to make sure that I was choosing people that were going to lift me up, people that were adding some kind of value to my life, people that were going to make things better. Now, don't get me wrong, it might sound a little bit selfish, and I don't mean that if it comes across this way. I don't mean go find people that you can take from that you don't add value back. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I had to choose my mentors wisely. Prior to selling cars at Dan Cummins, prior to being a part of that team, some of my mentors weren't necessarily the best mentors. Some of my mentors were the guys that would guide me down the wrong roads, or guys that would lead me down the hard way or the wrong way. And Greg, you're right. It's harder than now with Facebook. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was much harder then. But I had to choose mentors. Like, for example, one of the greatest mentors in my life was Jason Kitts. Jason Kitts was an incredible mentor of mine. He taught me everything that I needed to know about the car business. He taught me everything that I needed to know to be a better man and a better father. He was the guy that told me that it was all about the sacrifice. He told me that it was all in exchange. You received out of this life what you gave. It had to be an exchange. You had to sacrifice if you wanted the greater things. Jason Kitts taught me that. And then my greatest mentor, and still my greatest mentor right now today, is Josh Cummins. Josh Cummins, the owner of this dealership that I've been at for 7 years today. The guy teaches me so much every day. He pushes me so much. He motivates me every single day just to get better. Just to get better. He's a great mentor, man. He's an incredible mentor. He's an intelligent guy. He's a growing guy. He's a thriving guy. And he's made my life so much better. So choose your mentors, and choose your mentors wisely. Be careful. Be careful who you're spending time with and who you're going to listen to. The third thing that I did is I had to learn to have a mind for servitude. A servant leader. A servant leader can change the world. A servant leader can change a culture. A servant leader can take a company that's out in Paris, Kentucky, with a population of 9,500 people. A servant leader can take that company and that team, and they can put them up on their shoulders with an attitude of servitude and a mind of servitude, and they can lead them to become the second largest dealership in the country. And this year, we're going to shoot for number 1. But I had to become a servant leader in order to get there. See, I had to quit working for self. I had to quit going into everything thinking, what am I going to get out of this? Instead, I had to go into thinking, how can I help this person? How can I serve this person? How can I do something to add value? How can I leave every single interaction with every single person that I come in contact with? How can I walk away from that interaction with that person feeling as though they have gained something by interacting with me? How can I let my people know that I'll do anything for them? How can I make sure that my doors are open? The only way to do that is to always have a mind for servitude, to seek opportunities, to seek situations where you can serve others. So that was the third thing I did. I started changing this mindset, changing it to one of servitude, where I actually go out wanting to help others, wanting to serve others. That's the key. And it's something that I learned from one of my mentors. So to tie it back to number 2. The fourth thing that was the biggest and most impactful change on my life in these last 7 years is that I had to make sure, and not only make sure, but I married the most important person on this planet. You have to make sure that you have the right person in your corner. You have got to have the right person in your corner. My wife, Leslie Lundy, is an incredible, incredible woman. She understands who I am. She understands my drive. She understands my passions. She understands my hours. She understands my concerns. She understands my stresses. She understands. She understands, and not only does she understand, but she pushes and encourages and supports and loves. She does not give me grief. She does not try to bring me down. She constantly is lifting me up. She constantly is trying to help me become better for everybody out there. She shares me with you guys, my rise and grinders. She shares me with my team at Dan Cummins. She shares me with my kids. She is so unselfish. And I could never have done any of the things that I've done in the last 7 years if it wasn't for my wife. There's no way we'd be here today if it wasn't for my wife. So take a look at the people in your corner. Take a look at your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. Take a peek. Now, is this person lifting you up? Is this person making you better? Are they pushing you? Are they driving you? Or are they slowing you down? Are they holding you back? Because if they're slowing you down, they're holding you back. If they're not in your corner, if they're not fighting, then you got a problem. You got a problem. And the fifth thing, okay, the first thing was I made sure over the last 7 years to have a good morning routine. The second thing is I made sure to have the right mentors in my life, the right circle of friends, the right people around me. I don't know how she puts up with me either, Tom Sizemore. I don't know how she does it, bro. She's a godsend. The third thing is having a mind for servitude. I'm constantly seeking opportunities to serve others. And the fourth thing is I made sure that I have the right partner in my corner. And fifth and foremost, and the very last thing that has taken me from the 98 Toyota 4Runner 7 years ago to the high countries that I drive now, that has taken me from financially destitute, lonely and lost, to being the general manager, the second largest volume dealership in the country, and not to mention a family of 270 people that I absolutely love and adore, and I get to spend every single day with. The biggest thing that I had to do over those last 7 years is I had to figure out the fact that we are spiritual beings and that we have a God that exists in this universe that wants us to prosper, that wants us to grow, that loves us unconditionally, no matter what. A God that created us to be creators, that gave us the ability and the power to be able to come onto this earth and make a difference. I had to realize that God is real. I had to realize that existence is empty, hollow, shallow, and worthless without him. Once I made those realizations, my life changed. My life changed completely. Melissa Thompson jumped in. Oh, that's not crazy. Hey, thanks, Sean Hayes. So, hey, guys, that's the breakdown. 7 years ago today, I started a journey. I walked in and started as a salesman, Dan Cummins Chevrolet in Buick in Paris, Kentucky. My wife and I had our first kid. Things weren't always good. But in 7 years, we've been able to grow the dealership 600%. In 7 years, I've been able to grow the amount of kids that I have 600%. I didn't realize that, but I've been able to do that too. In 7 years, I've been able to network and just create a group of family and friends that I absolutely love and adore. And it was all based on those 5 things. So that's my message for you this morning on the Rise and Grind. I got to get out of here because I got to get to the gym. But make sure you have a good morning routine. Make sure you have the right mentors around you. Make sure you have a mind for servitude. Seek opportunities to serve others. Make sure you have the right partner in your corner. Take a good look at your spouse, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriends. Make sure they're encouraging. And lastly, understand the fact that you are a spiritual being and that there's a God in heaven that is watching down on us, that is trying to protect you, and that wants you to prosper in this existence. You guys have a great day. Please make sure to share the Rise and Grind. I will be back again tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. We'll do it all over again. You guys have an awesome, awesome day. Truly appreciate you. Have a good one. See ya.